There has been a lot of talk about censorship in video games over the past few days, specifically about Aspyr apologizing for what they claim was accidental censorship in the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 collection, and we've been talking about Stellar Blade and how, yes, there was unfortunately outfits censored within it, and then we of course had the R controversy, but now we have found out Nintendo is censoring scenes of enemy Goombas catcalling female party members from the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, I am sure there are going to be people going, why does this matter? It's only a little bit of censorship, but even a little bit of censorship needs to be called out because it is too much censorship. We have seen so much gendered language removed from video games over the past few years, and we've also seen scenes like this toned down because it could be seen as offensive to women, when I myself as a woman am more offended by the fact that they are censoring a product. It says, in the latest case of a video game remake making an edit to its source material's original script, Nintendo has censored a scene wherein a trio of enemies aggressively catcall one of Mario's female allies from their upcoming remake of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Now, obviously, remakes are never going to be exactly one-to-one, even though I wish they were and they should be, but when it comes to altering content like this because, oh, someone could see it as offensive is ridiculous, because all you are doing is moving further away from the source material. And when I buy remakes, I want to buy remakes because they are faithful, because they are as close to the original game as possible, and by doing this, you are pushing away a group of people who have played the original and are going to be upset with the fact that you are altering it. It says, occurring early on in the Red-Hatted Plumber's two-dimensional journey and serving as the setup to the game's live combat tutorial, the scene in question sees Mario and his newfound allies Goombella, a friendly female Goomba, and Professor Frankly, a bespectacled and academic-minded Goomba, accosted by an assorted trio of rough and tumble Goombas, and of course, this is now going to be changed. In the original 2004 GameCube release of The Thousand Year Door, upon crossing paths with the enemy trio, each of its members proceed to catcall Goombella, to which she ultimately responds by telling them to kick rocks. That is a perfectly fine scene, in my opinion. She not only is facing this catcall, but she's defending herself, just basically saying, screw you. Of course, it says, unable to handle the rejection, the Goombas then proceed to save face by attacking both her and Mario, thus kicking off the first combat encounter in which players can actually control the party. Hey man, hey, what's up? Who's the hottie you got there with you? What's up, baby? Why don't you hang out with us for a while? We play real nice. Man, what a fine looking Goomba doing with a tubby mustache man like that. Oh, so sweet that you boys think I'm cute. Seriously, yeah, guys like you make me feel like totally barfing. Now get out of our way. That is a hilarious encounter that, in my opinion, there is nothing wrong with that. We see her defending herself against these Goombas who are basically just going, what's up, baby? How are you doing? I don't know who could even find this offensive, okay? There is nobody in the world except for sensitive snowflakes on social media that would complain about this. And let's be honest, there's not many of them. They go on social media and they are a vocal minority. And they thought that this needed to be changed. And of course, there are going to be people, as I mentioned, who say, what does it matter? It's only a couple of lines. Why did they have to change it then in the first place if it wasn't that big of a deal? Okay, all they are doing is going to be upsetting the players who would buy this. And it is important to point out that when this game originally released in 2004 for the GameCube, it's not like it was translated poorly and they simply wanted to get it closer to the Japanese text, because notably, as the article says, Per a 2004 translation guide of the game's Japanese script provided by GameFAQs user, in its original non-localized release, Mario's encounter with the Goombas plays out roughly the same as it would in English, with Goombella being hit on and rejected by the enemy. So it's not like they were trying to get it closer to the original Japanese text. There is not that situation here. Nintendo simply decided, we do not want this in the new remake. And it's so sad to see because, of course, over the years, we've seen many companies force censorship upon developers and, unfortunately, censor at the inception level of a game, where they go, oh, you can't do X, Y, and Z, you can't use gendered language, or you can't, use certain terms that are demeaning to women, or certain things like that. And Nintendo has been better when it comes to censorship. They do allow quite a lot on the eShop, which a lot of people have praised, but unfortunately no company is perfect, and I personally don't expect companies to be perfect because I don't want to give them too much credit, but it is very disappointing to see this happen. And again, over the years, we have seen so many situations like this. This was from 2022. Ecchi publisher claims new guidelines ban uncensored breasts on the Nintendo Switch. And of course, on the eShop, there is a, ecchi and hentai section where there is quite a lot of nudity and a lot of, sexual content. So one would assume they wouldn't be doing things like this, but unfortunately, since this kind of rumor came out, we have definitely heard about quite a few situations where games are rejected by the eShop. A lot does still go through, but they are still very inconsistent when it comes to their platform, and we've seen this with many other companies like Valve with Steam, and of course Sony with PlayStation, but we've unfortunately had to deal with a lot of situations over the past couple of years regarding gendered language. Western localization of Fire Emblem Engage removes gendered language and even censors romantic confessions. We, of course, had this situation. English localization of Square Enix's Live Alive found to be riddled with poor translation and censorship, and of course, what did they do? They removed gendered language. So this is not very shocking to anybody who really follows the video game industry. This is why I talk so much on my channel about video game censorship, because when I hear about a remake, I want it to be as close to the original as possible, and we're just not seeing that from a lot of companies. There are a lot of companies who are pumping out remakes because they're not hiring people who have a single creative bone in their body, and they simply cannot make new, unique, original content that is actually going to sell. So they're just pumping out remakes and remasters, and it's starting to get old, and a lot of people are starting to get tired of that. And while I know there is quite a bit of hype behind this game, just know that yes, they did end up censoring scenes where Goombas catcall female party members because it could be seen as offensive to women. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.